With its pungent odor and habit of dwelling in the filthiest places, the cockroach is not only a terrifying nightmare for over 90% of the world's population, but today it is also a golden link in the billion-dollar industrial empire that is rapidly booming. It might sound insane, but have you ever wondered how humans raise, care for, and process billions of cockroaches every year? This peculiar journey begins in specialized farms, where cockroaches are bred and nurtured in ways never before seen with any other species. Once they reach their prime, they are not only harvested, but also carefully sorted, processed, and transformed into key ingredients for a variety of unique dishes that challenge culinary norms, as well as essential components in modern pharmaceuticals and cosmetics, where their bioactive compounds are valued for their medicinal and regenerative properties. Today, join Agriculture Insight as we uncover how humans have transformed a terrifying nightmare into a booming industry. Now let's dive into the world of this most despised creature. Ranked among the top 3 most feared creatures, just behind snakes and spiders, cockroaches' fear is not unfounded. They are often associated with filth, dwelling in garbage and sewers, and are known to spread harmful diseases such as dysentery, typhoid, and hepatitis A. However, we might be misunderstanding them, and these cockroaches really deserve a bit of justice. Of the more than 4,500 cockroach species recorded worldwide, only a few, like the German cockroach and the Oriental cockroach, are truly the main culprits, sneaking into every corner of your kitchen and bathroom. And the most remarkable thing is that there is only one cockroach species in the world that is extensively exploited due to its large size, superior reproduction rate, minimal risk of carrying diseases, and rich bioactive compounds: the American cockroach. In China, particularly in provinces like Shandong, Sichuan, and Henan, the cockroach farming model is quietly evolving into a modern, scientific, and closed-loop industry. This rapid growth is spreading to other countries such as Thailand, Vietnam, South Korea, and Japan, with thousands of farms serving various industries and generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Before establishing a cockroach farm with millions, even billions of cockroaches, the first thing farmers need to prepare is a suitable shelter for them to settle and reproduce. Unlike traditional livestock farming models, cockroach farming does not require large spaces or elaborate pens. Since cockroaches are nocturnal, prefer humid environments, and live on surfaces without traveling far, the most important factor is creating a closed, stable environment with dense hiding spaces. Farmers use specialized shelter boards, often made of plywood, shaped cardboard, or slotted plastic, stacked vertically in wooden cubic boxes. Each box contains dozens of these boards, creating narrow gaps, which are the ideal spaces for cockroaches to cling to, shelter, and lay their eggs. In addition, the cockroach breeding room is designed to be completely enclosed, without windows or natural light, with the temperature consistently maintained between 28 to 32 degrees Celsius, and humidity ranging from 65 to 75%, creating optimal conditions for rapid growth and molting. The next factor in creating a thriving cockroach kingdom in the darkness is breeding. With a reproduction rate of 600 to 800 offspring per female during its lifespan, usually lasting around 10 to 14 months, it's not an exaggeration to say that an entire farm of millions of cockroaches can start from just a few dozen individuals. What's particularly remarkable is that throughout their lifespan, cockroaches only need to mate once to reproduce and sustain dozens of generations without mating again. Even more impressive than humans, right? After mating, the female cockroach begins to produce an ootheca, a flat, oval-shaped egg case that is light brown in color. Each ootheca contains about 15 to 20 eggs, and it is typically held inside the female's abdomen for about 4 to 6 days to complete the embryonic development before being expelled. After approximately 25 to 35 days, depending on temperature and humidity, the nymphs begin to emerge from the egg case. Remarkably, newly hatched cockroaches look very different from the adults. Their bodies are small, rice grain-sized, white in color, without wings, and very fragile. They will undergo several molts, gradually turning darker brown, then reddish brown, and eventually developing into fully grown adult cockroaches. The entire process takes about 3 to 4 months, depending on the care conditions and breeding density. Once a cockroach farm is populated with millions of individuals packed together, the next key factor to consider is feeding. Cockroaches are among the most polyphagous insects, capable of consuming almost any type of organic matter, from breadcrumbs, cereal, fruit peels, and rotting vegetables, to leftover food, soy residue, and even decaying paper or cardboard. Thanks to their digestive system's ability to break down cellulose and the powerful symbiotic bacteria in their gut, cockroaches can extract maximum nutrients from seemingly worthless food sources. This characteristic makes cockroaches highly efficient biological waste processors, while also significantly reducing the cost of breeding. In addition to food scraps, professional farms use a mix of rice bran, cornmeal, dried bread, chopped fruit peels, and occasionally add probiotics, digestive enzymes, or trace minerals to improve metabolism. Furthermore, cockroaches do not need to drink water directly, but mainly absorb moisture through their bodies or from soft food sources. Feeding is done on a regular cycle, typically 1 to 2 times a day, depending on the cockroach density and age. The food is placed directly into trays, positioned between the shelter gaps for the cockroaches to crawl out and feed. With multi-layered trays, breeders distribute food at fixed spots in the middle of the racks to ensure even distribution, avoiding overcrowding at any one point, which could lead to competition and suffocation. Due to the cockroach's omnivorous, hardy nature, many people mistakenly believe that they can survive well even when starved for a few days. However, in industrial conditions, just 24 to 48 hours without food or water can cause cockroaches to become weak, grow slowly, lose their ability to reproduce, or even start cannibalizing each other. During this process, strict quarantine and biosecurity measures are key to maintaining a healthy colony. The main farming area is regularly disinfected, with temperature, humidity, air quality, and feed hygiene carefully controlled. At large-scale research and production centers, such as Good Doctor Pharmaceutical Group in Sichuan Province and the Institute of Insect Sciences at Zhejiang University, the cockroach farming industry has reached new heights, with facilities spanning thousands of square meters. Because American cockroaches are large, fast, and capable of flight, containment is difficult. Therefore, the foremost requirement in cockroach farming is rigorous isolation and biosecure enclosures to prevent any escape into the environment. Large-scale farms often use a surrounding water channel system as a natural barrier that cockroaches cannot cross. In many cases, this is combined with aquaculture, such as raising fish or eels in the channels, to boost economic efficiency, make use of insects that fall in as feed, and immediately eliminate any cockroaches that manage to escape. After about 4 to 6 months from the time an egg case is laid, the adult cockroaches begin to enter the harvesting phase. However, harvesting cockroaches is not as simple as catching fish or collecting eggs. At this point, the farmers apply force by shaking or striking the rearing panels, causing millions of cockroaches to simultaneously drop from their shelters. Instantly, they begin scurrying in all directions, creating a scene that is both chaotic and unsettling, forcing workers to quickly collect them before they can hide again. And the weapon humans use to fight against the cockroach escape frenzy is water. The breeders will pour the cockroaches from the trays into a smooth, high plastic container to prevent them from climbing out, and then immediately add water. Although cockroaches cannot breathe underwater, this does not cause them to drown, as they can survive due to their ability to withstand a lack of oxygen for short periods. However, the water frightens them and disorients them, and that's when humans regain control. And when one life cycle ends, they come closer to their ultimate mission, which still raises doubts among millions, becoming food, pharmaceuticals, and even cosmetics. The first step in the cockroach processing procedure is to completely dry them in a sunny area. The goal of this process is not to make the cockroaches die immediately, but to dehydrate them and stop their physiological activities, ensuring long-term preservation without mold or spoilage. After about 6 to 8 hours under a temperature range of 28 to 32 degrees Celsius, the exoskeleton becomes brittle with a reddish-brown hue and no longer emits a foul odor. At this point, the cockroaches are ready for the next step. Cockroaches, especially the American cockroach, contain a very high protein content, up to 60% of their dry weight, along with essential amino acids, healthy fats, and B vitamins. This exceptional nutritional value makes cockroaches a potential raw material for protein-rich supplements and animal feed. Many diners, after trying fried cockroaches for the first time, admit that they are as crispy as fried shrimp shells, as fragrant as crispy pork fat, with a light nutty aftertaste like roasted chestnuts, despite their terrifying appearance. So, if given the chance, would you want to try the unique flavor of this insect? In addition to being used as food, cockroaches are also used in traditional medicine to treat swelling, boils, and minor burns. In some rural areas of China, dried cockroaches are ground into a paste and directly applied to the affected area to promote healing. This is because cockroaches contain many antibacterial peptides and tissue-regenerating compounds, which help heal the skin quickly. From traditional knowledge, cockroaches have gradually been utilized more in the modern pharmaceutical and cosmetic industries. In specialized factories, dried cockroaches are processed into fine powder, potent liquid extracts, or concentrated biological solutions, with prices typically around 40 to 50 USD kilograms and up to about 350 US kilograms for high-quality products. These are then used as key ingredients in pharmaceuticals for stomach ulcers and intestinal inflammation, as well as in scar-healing creams and skin regeneration serums. With the unexpected values that cockroaches bring, from biological waste processing to becoming a valuable resource in various industries, we cannot deny that this once despised creature now holds an irreplaceable position in the modern world. In nature, locusts are insects capable of causing severe agricultural disasters. When the weather is favorable, small swarms gather into massive clouds that darken the sky and destroy thousands of hectares of crops within hours, leaving farmers devastated. This phenomenon causes global agricultural losses of up to $8.5 billion annually, threatening food security and significantly impacting the economies of many countries worldwide. Yet the paradox is that this very pest is now considered a protein source of the future. Locusts contain 60–70% pure protein, twice that of beef, while being rich in minerals, low in fat, easy to digest, and environmentally friendly. In China, the locust farming industry is rapidly growing, with an estimated annual production of around 5,000 to 8,000 tons, serving both domestic and export markets and generating tens of millions of dollars in revenue. In Africa, locusts are called gold falling from the sky. Locals harvest them naturally at almost no cost, yet still create significant income. And without further delay, join me now to explore the modern locust farming process and how humans have transformed a destructive pest into a new food source for the future. Every journey begins with infrastructure. To raise locusts effectively, farmers must create a natural-like environment that is orderly, clean, and fully controlled. Modern locust farms are typically built in well-ventilated areas with abundant natural light, but protected from rain and wind by hundreds of neatly arranged mosquito-proof mesh cages. Each rearing unit has a base layer of fine sand or sawdust to absorb moisture and provide ideal conditions for locusts to lay eggs. The temperature inside the cages is maintained steadily between 30 to 35 degrees Celsius, with humidity kept at 60 to 70%, recreating a summer-like environment in a closed space to maximize locust growth and reproduction. And of course, maintaining healthy breeding stock is an essential step, a process that requires meticulous preparation and strict control. During the breeding season, the locust farm becomes so lively that farmers call it the biological explosion phase. Locusts mate by stacking on the backs of females, with each mating lasting from 4 to 10 hours, one of the longest mating durations among insects. The male uses small spines on its legs to firmly hold the female, ensuring successful sperm transfer. After fertilization, the female enters a prolonged egg-laying phase lasting several days. During the breeding season, farmers place specialized egg-laying trays, shallow plastic boxes filled with a 3 to 5 centimeters thick layer of fine sand, maintained at about 70% moisture. Female locusts use a needle-like ovipositor to pierce deep into the sand and deposit eggs in batches. Each individual can lay from 20 to over 100 eggs at a time, and this process repeats multiple times throughout the breeding cycle. The number of eggs laid can be so large that after just one night, the sand surface may be completely covered, with eggs arranged in layers resembling tiny grains of rice. To prevent overcrowding that could cause oxygen deficiency or embryo damage, farmers need to regularly replace the trays, ensuring each batch of eggs is collected at the right time. Immediately after the female locust completes the egg-laying process, farmers carefully begin collecting the egg trays. With meticulous handling, they sift through the sand layer, gently extracting egg clusters concentrated in the densest areas. Locust eggs are very small, elongated oval-shaped, and ivory-colored. They are usually coated in a layer of mucus secreted by the female during laying. This mucus helps bind the eggs into clusters and forms an initial protective membrane, but it also causes the eggs to blend into the sand, requiring skilled handling to avoid breaking or damaging the delicate embryos inside. Once separated, the eggs are transferred to specialized incubation trays containing a sterilized mixture of fine sand and sawdust or coconut fiber. The mixing ratio is precisely adjusted to maintain optimal moisture levels, avoiding excessive wetness that could cause oxygen deficiency, while ensuring good airflow around the eggs. The incubation trays are then placed in a separate hatching area with minimal light. Temperature is kept stable between 30 to 32 degrees Celsius, and humidity is maintained at approximately 70%. After 10 to 15 days, the young locusts begin to break through the eggshells and emerge from the sand, as if experiencing a new season of life. Newly hatched locusts resemble adults in shape but lack wings. At this stage, they are extremely fragile and sensitive to environmental changes, requiring meticulous care to ensure the highest survival rate. In their early life stage, young locusts are fed soft, nutrient-rich, and easily digestible young leaves to help their bodies recover quickly after each molt. As they grow, their diet shifts to fresh leaves such as corn, papaya, elephant grass, or sweet potato leaves. All feed materials are carefully chopped into bite-sized pieces completely free of pesticides and always kept fresh. Even a small piece of wilted or moldy leaf can cause disease outbreaks that spread rapidly in the confined farming environment. Stocking density is also critical, typically maintained at 500 to 1,000 locusts per square meter. Overcrowding causes stress, leading locusts to bite each other or suffer mass mortality. Daily cleaning is mandatory. Removing dead individuals, cleaning feces, replacing moisture-absorbing bedding, and draining stagnant water to prevent mold growth. Neglecting these tasks can result in the loss of hundreds of locusts within hours. Like many other insects, locusts develop through molting. During the first 25 to 30 days of life, they undergo 5 to 6 molts before reaching adulthood. Each molting stage is extremely sensitive. Before molting, farmers carefully adjust the humidity in the rearing area. Instead of direct watering, farms typically use light misting systems or place damp cloths in corners to maintain ideal moisture levels. If the environment is too dry, old exoskeletons won't shed completely. If too moist, mold outbreaks occur. Throughout molting, locust bodies become soft, nearly transparent, and highly vulnerable to injury from collisions or even competition among peers. Therefore, it is strictly prohibited to move or disturb the rearing area during this period. After the final molts, locusts reach adult form, elongated and muscular bodies with thin wings folded neatly along their sides. Their color changes from deep green to earthy brown, depending on the rearing environment and strain. As locusts enter the adult stage, their nutritional needs increase dramatically. While they fed slowly as nymphs, their food consumption rate now becomes extremely rapid. A group of several hundred locusts can consume an entire tray of greens within just a few hours. The average weight of an adult locust ranges from 250 to 350 milligrams, but high-yield strains can reach up to 400 milligrams. Each individual requires about 0.8 to 1.2 grams of feed daily. On average, a tray housing 500 locusts needs approximately 3 kilograms of leafy greens per day to ensure sufficient nutrition for the harvesting stage. Besides food, locusts need clean water to maintain vital functions. On farms, drinking water is usually provided through trays or light misting systems, helping to maintain humidity and aid digestion. Clean, uncontaminated water is essential to prevent diseases and boost immunity. Providing adequate water helps locusts grow healthily and achieve high productivity. Every 3-4 days, farmers randomly weigh samples to monitor growth rates. This process helps adjust feeding portions timely, ensuring uniform development and minimizing size differences within the colony. After about 30 to 35 days, adult locusts reach marketable size and are ready for harvest. This stage is highly manual, requiring skill and precision comparable to any sophisticated agricultural technique. Unlike other insects that can be harvested by machinery, locusts are caught entirely by hand to preserve their shape and ensure quality. Harvesters gently open nets or cage lids and carefully approach the locusts clinging to trays or the floor. Every movement must be precise and smooth. Too fast causes panic, too slow reduces productivity. After catching, locusts are placed into soft mesh bags to keep them ventilated and prevent crushing or deformation. On average, a skilled harvester can collect 10 to 15 kilograms per hour. The combination of speed and gentleness has turned this task into an art form. The ultimate goal is to keep each locust intact for the next step, whether packaging live or sending them to processing plants. After the harvesting and transportation process is complete, the live locust trays are immediately sent for thorough cleaning, a process far more sophisticated than simply washing with water. The locusts are placed into automatic vibrating tanks that combine circulating water, gentle ultrasonic waves, and tilted stainless steel drums. This system removes sand, soil, leaves, droppings, and natural oils from the locusts' bodies without breaking their legs or tearing their wings. After cleaning, the locusts move onto mesh conveyor belts for drying using low-pressure cold air. This method dries them without causing thermal shock, preserving their freshness and original texture. Once clean and dry, the locusts are taken to the packaging area. Here, they are sorted according to their intended use: live consumption or processing. Live locusts are packed in modified atmosphere bags to maintain freshness. Each package is clearly labeled with harvest date, origin, nutritional information, and storage instructions. And the most exciting part is the processing stage. The locusts are briefly blanched in boiling water to remove impurities, then gently dried and seasoned with sea salt and traditional herbs. Next, they are deep fried in hot oil until they turn a golden crispy color that's simply irresistible. After frying, the locusts are drained of oil, then a few drops of fresh lime juice are added along with a sprinkle of chili powder, creating a perfect blend of sour, spicy, and the distinctive umami aftertaste. The result is a unique snack, crunchy, flavorful, and highly nutritious, ideal for enjoying with a cold drink or as an adventurous appetizer. Would you dare to try this tiny but surprising delicacy? What intrigues you more, the crisp crunch, the spicy kick, or its nutrition, considered the future of cuisine? Modern silkworm farming and silk production today represent a true revolution, far beyond the traditional, manual methods that existed for thousands of years. This dramatic transformation has paved the way for silkworms to be raised and processed industrially on a large scale across many countries, especially China, which dominates 70% of global raw silk production, amounting to nearly 60,000 tons per year. Though its appearance might be frightening to some, the silkworm creates something more precious than gold. With farms that can span tens of thousands of square meters, and they continue to expand in scale. So what is it that has kept silk so irresistibly captivating for millennia? Silk threads spun by the most common silkworm species, Bombyx mori, light as breath yet stronger than steel by weight, are the crystallization of an exceptionally intricate natural protein structure, made of a strong fibroin core tightly bound by a protective sericin layer. This dual protein architecture gives silk its unmatched combination of strength, softness, and natural sheen, a marvel that humans have yet to replicate artificially. As a timeless symbol of elegance, skillfully connecting Eastern and Western cultures, mulberry silk carries profound historical and artistic value and is celebrated today in haute couture collections worth hundreds of thousands of dollars from luxury fashion houses such as Hermès, Dior, Valentino, and Elie Saab. And the journey of the world's most luxurious silk begins with the simplest of things: silkworm eggs, more delicate than specks of dust. If not killed for silk reeling, then after about 9 to 10 days inside specially selected cocoons, the pupae will emerge as adult moths and be ready to reproduce within just 2 to 4 hours. Importantly, silkworms are extremely sensitive, so this process must take place in individual trays or mesh enclosures, under soft lighting and in a quiet environment to ensure optimal results. Over thousands of years of domestication, the moth has lost its ability to fly due to its shrunken wings, weak chest muscles, and overly heavy body. That is how we have designed the silkworm to produce silk for its entire life. Over the next 24 to 48 hours, each female moth can continuously lay between 300 and 500 eggs. These tiny eggs gradually change color from pale yellow to gray, a clear sign of successful fertilization. After being carefully collected and cold stored, only the highest quality eggs are transferred to incubation chambers, where ideal conditions of 24–25 degrees Celsius and 80 to 85% humidity are maintained to trigger hatching. Then, following a patient wait of around 10 days, tiny silkworm larvae begin to emerge, marking the start of a life journey that is both fragile and extraordinary. In the early stage rearing phase, newly hatched silkworms are transferred into flat trays at a density of approximately 1,500 to 2,000 larvae per square meter, where they are carefully incubated for 4 to 5 days to help them adapt to their new environment. At this stage, the tiny creatures are fed nutrient-rich mulberry leaf cakes using automated spreaders. They feed continuously, day and night, growing rapidly with each passing day, much like popcorn kernels bursting in a hot pan. To keep pace with this explosive development, they undergo 2 molting cycles, a vital process that allows their skin to shed and stretch, making room for swift growth before entering the main rearing stage. As they complete these crucial early stages, the silkworms are then ready to move into the main rearing phase, where their growth accelerates and their care intensifies. To prepare for the maturation phase, the silkworm's diet changes significantly. Every early morning, farmers head to the mulberry gardens to harvest fresh leaves, especially those from the middle to lower parts of the branches, where the nutrient levels are best suited for growing silkworms. An interesting fact, silkworms do not drink water throughout their entire life cycle. That's why ensuring the leaves are completely dry before feeding is an essential step in professional silkworm farming. If the leaves are still wet with dew or moisture, they can cause bloating, disease, or even mass mortality among the silkworms. Now, feeding the silkworms becomes a race against time, as the appetite of billions surges dramatically. In the most modern farms, they are raised on floors spanning tens of thousands of square meters, providing spacious environments for optimal growth. Instead of finely chopped tender leaves, silkworms now require larger, more mature mulberry leaves to satisfy their increasing hunger. They are fed fresh leaves 5 to 6 times a day, carefully spread out to ensure even distribution, not only to promote efficient feeding, but also to reduce stress and overcrowding, which could lead to suffocation. An indispensable factor during this period is the application of lime to sterilize the environment by killing harmful bacteria and fungi, reducing the risk of disease, while also helping to maintain a balanced pH level. During this final feeding period, which lasts around 10 to 12 days, the silkworms undergo 2 additional molts to keep up with their rapid growth. At this stage, feeding is no longer a simple task. It becomes a delicate symphony between nature and precision, all in preparation for the next phase, spinning their precious golden cocoons. When silkworms show signs of a translucent abdomen and reduced appetite, farmers, relying on their experience, gradually lower the hanging frame system made of straw, bamboo, or plastic closer to the ground. From there, among billions of tiny compartments, these gentle creatures instinctively find their favorite spots to settle and spin their cocoons. Thanks to a sophisticated silk gland system, much like that of spiders, the silkworm spins by rhythmically moving its head in a figure-8 pattern, producing thousands of loops of filament that can stretch over 1,000 meters. Within just 2 to 3 days, it forms a cocoon, both a safe haven and a precious treasure for the silk industry. So what truly happens inside this mysterious cocoon? Over the next 7 to 10 days after completing its cocoon, the silkworm lies still and silently transforms into a pupa, a crucial metamorphosis preparing it for the next stage in its extraordinary life cycle. While waiting for Bombyx mori silkworms to spin their cocoons, there's another remarkable species you may have never heard of, the tussa silkworm. Renowned for its wild silk threads that are 2 to 3 times stronger than those of its domesticated cousin. Moths harvested from the previous season are stored in hundreds of separate cages, ensuring stable environmental conditions to maintain their health and reproductive ability. They are then evenly released onto hanging racks inside the rearing cages, where they have space to fly freely and mate naturally. After about 3 to 5 days, an important technique involves farmers gently shaking the racks with sticks to dislodge pollen, stimulating more effective mating and increasing egg fertilization rates. Unlike cultivated silkworms that feed exclusively on mulberry leaves, tussa silkworm eggs hatch into larvae that are raised to maturity on oak, elm, or wild apple leaves. A defining difference is that tussa silkworms are usually allowed to complete their life cycle and emerge as moths, ensuring genetic diversity and supporting long-term sustainability rather than prioritizing silk yield alone. Thanks to its rich texture, natural golden hue, and ethical appeal, premium wild tussa silk is typically reserved for luxury fashion or bespoke works of art, with some final creations commanding prices in the millions. After days of hard work and patient waiting, it's finally time for farmers to reap the rewards of their labor. In the past, silkworm cocoons were harvested entirely by hand. Farmers would skillfully pluck each cocoon from the bamboo frames using their fingers. While this manual method was simple and low cost, it was extremely time-consuming when dealing with tens of thousands of cocoons in a single batch. That's why, with the rise of industrial-scale sericulture, the demand for higher efficiency and reduced labor led to the development of mechanical aids. Today, semi-automatic hand-operated machines and fully automated cocoon harvesters are widely used, increasing harvesting speed by 5 to 10 times compared to manual methods, minimizing loss, and ensuring uniform cocoon quality. This marks a crucial transformation that helps modernize the silk industry and expand its reach to global markets. And from here, the fate of each cocoon and the silkworm pupa inside takes one of 2 paths. A fortunate few will continue their life cycle, emerging as moths to produce eggs for the next season. The rest are sent to the factory, where their golden threads are transformed into luxurious silk. When thousands of tons of cocoons arrive at the factory, the transformation into silk begins with the sorting stage. Skilled workers carefully examine each cocoon, selecting them based on criteria such as size, weight, uniformity, and shell thickness. Only the highest quality cocoons are chosen for premium silk production, ensuring the final product meets the finest standards of texture and craftsmanship. Next comes a critical step to prevent the silkworm from developing into a moth and breaking the cocoon. This is done by exposing the live cocoons to high temperatures through methods such as steam treatment, hot air drying, or immersion in hot water. This process not only halts metamorphosis, but also sterilizes the cocoons and preserves the unbroken structure of the silk filaments, ensuring longer shelf life and superior thread quality. But that alone isn't enough to soften the sericin, the natural protein that acts as glue, binding the silk fibers together. So after the pupae are removed, the cocoons are gently warmed in hot water at around 60 to 90 degrees Celsius. Now, the heart of the entire process begins to beat, as the softened cocoons enter the mesmerizing silk reeling stage. If you look closely, you'll notice the rotating brushes gently swirling in hot water, not only to loosen the outer sarsen layer, but also to skillfully locate the silk filament's end, finer than a strand of hair. As soon as the brushes uncover and separate this delicate tip from the cocoon, a sharp-eyed worker quickly identifies it and carefully guides it into the reeling machine. From there, shimmering strands flow like a silver stream, each formed by combining threads from 5 to 10 cocoons and wound evenly onto spools. Though a single cocoon can yield up to 1,000 meters of silk, it takes between 2,500 to 3,000 cocoons to produce just half a kilogram of raw silk, the precious material behind the world's finest silks. Once the raw silk threads are drawn, they move on to the twisting stage, where multiple fine filaments are gently spun together to enhance their strength, consistency, and suitability for weaving. This is also the moment when skilled artisans can blend different silk types to create unique textures, desired thicknesses, or subtle variations in color and sheen. Interestingly, the twisting density of silk is entirely different from that of wool or alpaca fiber. Animal fibers, being shorter and more fragile, require a tighter twist to ensure durability. In contrast, silk filaments are naturally long, smooth, and lustrous, needing only a gentle twist to preserve their signature drape, softness, and shimmer. This delicate balance gives each silk thread a soul of its own, shaping not only the texture, but also the emotion and elegance of the fabric it will soon become. However, to truly reach their full potential, the freshly spun silk threads must undergo a special transformation, the degumming process. This is done by soaking the twisted threads in warm water mixed with a mild, alkaline solution. As the sarsen slowly dissolves, what remains is the pure essence of silk, lighter, softer, and unbelievably smooth. In that very moment, the thread awakens, no longer raw fiber, but a living material ready to become something magical. Before being placed on the loom, premium silk threads undergo a special step, yarn dyeing, a moment when artisans breathe soul into each living strand of silk. Each bundle of silk is soaked in a dye bath for 4 to 6 hours, where natural colorants, extracted from indigo leaves, pomegranate rinds, rosewood, or sappanwood roots, seep deep into the fibers. This traditional yarn dyeing technique forms the foundation for intricate woven patterns, such as ikat or brocade. Meanwhile, for solid-colored silks or hand-painted fabrics, the entire cloth is dyed after weaving, creating flowing layers of color that blend harmoniously, soft and fluid like water. After the dyeing process, the premium silk threads are ready to enter their final stage, weaving. Depending on the intended use and local traditions, the silk may be woven on traditional handlooms or modern industrial machines. Regardless of the method, this is the moment when thousands of threads move rhythmically, crisscrossing, undulating, flowing with softness yet precision, to form smooth, lustrous sheets of silk. Each woven fabric is no longer just a material. It is a living artwork, ready to become garments, art pieces, or one-of-a-kind handcrafted masterpieces. But the value of snakes doesn't stop there. Snake skin is a crucial component that generates significant profits, thanks to its uniqueness, rarity, and steady demand in the luxury fashion market. The first step in the snake skin processing is to anesthetize or immobilize the snake, after which workers carefully peel off the skin entirely by hand. This process demands patience, precision, and steady hand pressure. Just one slip can tear the skin, cause scale loss, or damage the pattern, which are critical factors in determining the final product's value. After being thoroughly cleaned of blood and mucus, the skin is salted for about 12 to 24 hours to preserve it and prepare it for the tanning process. Following tanning, The snake skin is stretched onto frames to flatten and shape it properly, ensuring a smooth surface for further processing. Next, snake skins are taken out of the conditioning oil baths and carefully spread on glass panels or flat tables. Skilled artisans use rubber squeegees to evenly distribute the oil, remove air bubbles, and press the oil deep into the fibers. Then the skins rest for 6 to 12 hours to allow full absorption and surface stabilization before final finishing. Delving further into the core of the process, after dyeing, skilled artisans employ high-speed polishing wheels, spinning between 1,500 and 3,000 RPM, to carefully buff the surface of the snakeskin, accentuating the distinct scale patterns and producing a natural shine. Following polishing, the snakeskins move through an automated spraying system that applies a uniform protective layer, enhancing gloss, locking in color stability, and safeguarding the surface, readying the skins for final inspection and export. It's no coincidence that fashion houses like Gucci, Hermes, and Versace favor this material. Snakeskin is not only lightweight, durable, and flexible, but also features unique patterns, each piece a natural fingerprint that cannot be duplicated, making it ideal for handcrafted luxury products valued at hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is not the end of the value chain. Venom extraction, the most valuable product from snakes, has transformed a once deadly substance into a vital component of life-saving medicines and advanced medical therapies. The process begins with a seemingly simple yet inherently dangerous step: milking the snake for venom. Each snake selected for milking must meet strict criteria. It must not be shedding, not stressed, and fully recovered from the previous milking. Technicians use specialized tools to clamp the snake's head, then gently press its neck down on a table for control. As a defensive reflex, the snake bites through the rubber membrane, causing venom to drip into the vial. This clear liquid, sometimes with a golden or pale green tint, is the raw material for the billion-dollar anti-venom industry. Although only about 10 to 30 milligrams of venom is collected per session, just 5 milligrams of cobra venom can be fatal to an adult if not treated promptly. Immediately after collection, the venom is rapidly frozen or lyophilized to preserve its biological activity, as the enzymes in venom are extremely sensitive to temperature and light. Any slight mishandling can render the entire batch worthless. After collection, the venom is diluted and injected in increasing doses into large animals, such as horses, to stimulate the immune system to produce specific antibodies against the toxins. This process lasts from several weeks to months, with each injection carefully monitored to ensure the horse is not overwhelmed by the toxin. Once the antibody levels in the blood reach the required threshold, the horse's blood is drawn and centrifuged to separate the serum. The antibody-containing serum is then filtered, purified, and tested before being packaged in liquid or lyophilized form. The final product is anti-venom, the only biological preparation capable of neutralizing toxins in humans severely bitten by snakes. The entire production process requires high precision, strict sterile conditions, and is overseen by pharmaceutical facilities or specialized toxin research centers. Each vial of antivenom is the result of months of careful cultivation, testing, and storage, all starting from a single drop of venom. Each year, as many as 137,000 people lose their lives to snake bites, a heartbreaking figure that highlights the severe lack of access to antivenom treatment. Yet only 10 to 20% of victims receive timely medical care, as the cost of each vial can reach thousands of dollars, far beyond the means of most people. The question is not only how to produce more antivenom, but how to ensure this life-saving treatment reaches everyone, regardless of wealth, so that every drop of antivenom is not a luxury commodity, but a real chance for survival for thousands who are waiting.